Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 20. It is an exciting episode because we have Michelle's husband, Mariano, visiting us. So he's been a great supporter of the podcast. He takes the kids every week. So where are the kids? If you're both here, who's watching the kids?
Yeah, who's my daughter Priscilla is watching.
Okay, awesome. Good. So how long do we have? 15 minutes? We'll make it quick.
And now
10 minutes now. All right. Well, thank you for joining us, Mariano. We wanted to talk about marriage and relationships and all of those things, but let's first do a check-in. Michelle, it looks sunny and beautiful again from the park. What's the temp over there? I always want to know the temp.
So it is, I think 2:00 over here, and it is nice and windy, as you can see. 70 degrees. It is the middle of December and beautiful. Like I can't ask for more magic. Like there's no. Well, what's it like in Ohio?
I'm not in Ohio.
Oh, you're not in Ohio.
Oh, I'm actually in Hawaii. So it is 82 degrees. And it has been beautiful. Although since living in Ohio, it snows and it's beautiful weather and it's like almost Christmas time. It doesn't feel Christmassy. Like it's just sunny again.
Yeah.
My JR and the kids are like trying to convince me to move here. I don't want sunny all the time every day anymore. Like I love the season. So yeah, it's beautiful. We're in Ohio. And actually, this is a treat for me because I got to see you guys just last weekend. Our families got together. We went and visited San Diego. We took all the kids to the zoo. So I get to see you guys twice in a week. This is like a special treat. So it was wonderful to see our kids together. They had never met before and they were at the zoo and running around and it was a good time. So I enjoyed it.
It was great. And you are living my bucket list. Actually, we talked about this a dozen episodes ago. Yeah, my bucket list is to go to Hawaii, and you're doing it. And actually, I've never been there, but I would love to live there.
Yes. It's beautiful. We're at the Big Island. Fun fact, Hawaii, the state of Hawaii has like 130 something islands, but only 7 have people on it. So we're in Hawaii, the Big Island, like Hawaii, the Big Island, but there's 6 other ones. Yeah, it's been amazing. We've been snorkeling and at the beach, and I got my flower here. We visited a new church today, which was interesting and fun. And we went to a luau for my son's birthday. We've just done it all. So it feels good to be here resting and doing this podcast with you guys. All right, shall we get into it? Okay, Mariano, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Introduce yourself to our viewers and.
Yeah, well, my name is Mariano. So I grew up in LA and I was born there. And when I was a teen, my parents moved us to the Inland Empire, and I've grown up in the Inland Empire ever since. And so I've been so I just been working, you know, and I've gone through my education and you know lived my life. And I've been married once before. I got, you know, I went through that, and now it's I found Michelle. So here we are. You know, it's just been living life.
Do you have any hobbies?
Um, I like tinkering with technology, here and there.
Okay.
Cars. I like working on cars. Um, and lately it's just, just trying to learn a lot about uh 3D printing and laser stuff.
Okay. Well, and you guys have two little kids, so probably not much time for hobbies right now, right? It's just
So,
Oh, yeah.
so I try to find some time here and there. So it's very there's not too much time.
yeah. And watching the kids during our podcast and um how did you guys meet?
Well, we met at work. Um, so we met at work. We were Michelle. I was working there already, and Michelle came in and uh, started working with us. And we we met, uh, and we didn't really, hang out because she was married, and so when she started going through a divorce, um, we started she started hanging out with our group, like work people, they have their own groups and stuff. They go out after work, so she started hanging out with us because she was going through divorce, and we 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 have a circle of friends that we're very close with each other. So she started hanging out with us, and little by little we started hanging out a bit more, just me and her. That's how we met.
That's perfect. I love it.
The work friends were a great support
Mhm.
during that time.
And we're still friends,
Yeah.
true friends.
Awesome. And how long have you guys been married?
We've been married 5 years.
Oh, newlyweds. So cute.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, speaking about you being married before, you both are on your second marriage. Did you learn anything from your first marriage coming into your second marriage of like, okay, right, do this, don't do that, or was
Of course.
Mhm. You
Yeah,
want
of
to?
course. 'Cause when I got married, I was really young, and I had was not experienced at all. Just uh, just went into it with no life experience. Just I was 19 years old, and I had my first kid, and so I just tried to do the whole marriage thing, and ended up having another kid with so uh, my daughter got a sibling, and it just didn't work out, and it just we just divorced and moved on.
I feel that for young, I think where we're at right now, not just us, but as a whole, when someone does get married young, including myself, you you're not developed as a person, like he said, emotionally or any other way. You're still trying to figure out life, and then you do what you think is right, and you marry the person you're with, and you guys grow. And I don't think people are growing together, they're growing apart. Yes, and I think that's what's happening a lot. And with, like I said, like us as a whole, as in a society, divorce is okay where it wasn't before it was uh, a big no. I mean, I don't even know, was it a law? Like, it was a big no. No one ever divorced, but they still grew apart. I think a lot of people still grew apart but didn't divorce, and were just in toxic families, households. So I think that's a lot of it for myself and for Mariano.
Yeah, we definitely, you do learn a lot, you know, from your past relationships. You know, there's some things that you're probably don't realize that you're doing. And you learn, you learn from them, and just, that's how you get a good experience. You don't want to say certain things, like it's high. You don't want to say certain things that you thought it didn't affect somebody as
Mhm.
you think. So it's like, so you learn how to treat people, from
You think before you speak now?
you do, because that's what you don't, yeah, you don't want to, fight with somebody. You want to talk about it. And so you kind of learn how to not go into it with trying to pick a fight.
And probably with two marriages that you both were divorced, you realize that it takes a lot of hard work, like intentionality. Just like what you're saying is you're not just gonna fight with someone and say something to hurt them and back and forth, like being intentional and that's, I agree, that's true. Like, even you think about people that have been married 20, 30, 40, 50 years, like how did they not grow apart? I'm sure that they were intentional of staying connected and being interested in someone else's hobbies, even if they weren't really interested, or keeping that connection, because it is hard work. I think when we get married young, Michelle, how old were you when you got your first marriage?
24.
24. I think I was 25. I think when you get married young is you're in love and you get married, it's a thing to do, but not realizing how much hard work it takes as you're growing and hopefully growing together and not apart. Yes, good. Hey, thank you for sharing that. It kind of makes me think about what you're talking about, being intentional and not saying things to hurt people. One of the things in our podcast that we talk a lot about is intentional living, mindful living, mental health, emotional awareness. All those things are themes in our podcast. And Michelle has shared her journey with living with depression. How is it for you being married to or having a relationship, living with someone who lives with depression? How is that for you?
Well, it's been it's not perfect. I wish she didn't go through that, and I am there for her. I think people need to have empathy for their partners on what they're going through, and some people don't understand that that's that's something that they go through, and they can't control, and care for your partner. It's that's the best thing to do for them. It's not, there's no blaming or why is this, why is that, none of that. Just be there for them. Just realize that it's something that's not, you can't control. I've been very lucky that Michelle has been working on herself, just to try to better herself. Because it's hard to, if you're not trying to better yourself, it'll be a lot harder for their partner to be more empathetic. Just they're just gonna think that they're not okay.
Yeah.
And
good point.
And me seeing Michelle going working on herself and just trying to take as best care as possible, she's, to me, I've been blessed that she's, that she does that. Um, I'm really just there to support her, and I'm not, I haven't like had like a lot of stress about that.
Mm.
Just because I know that she's trying her hardest, and I'm just here to support her.
Thank you
And
for that. Well,
yeah,
I
that's a
did
big
want to
deal.
ask because you have told me multiple times how well Mariano handles you and how he's supportive. For you, I would love to hear like specifically what does he do that is supportive to you?
Yeah. Um, the main thing, like he said, was he's just here to support me in any way versus trying to fix me. A lot of people, I'm just gonna say in our situation that me being female and him being male, the males like to fix things, including him. He likes to fix things. He just said his hobby is tinkering. So I could have been a tinker project for him, but not. um, he loves me for who I am, including the bad. I don't want to put
No.
negative in it, but including my struggles or anything like that. And go ahead.
Because sometimes, as males, like when we hear something from our wives, that we want to help and we want to fix whatever they problems they have, and sometimes you just can't fix it. You have to listen. You have to listen and say, I understand.
Mm.
That's just guys aren't, they just want to fix your problem.
Mariano, is that hard for you? I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Is that hard?
Is it hard for you? Do you consciously like Michelle's telling you something and probably well, let me say personally, if I'm telling my husband something and he's like, well, why don't you do this or why don't you do that or just snap out of it or why aren't you happy? Like, is it hard for you? Do you have to mindfully just stop yourself from going there, or is it? I'm curious on your process. Is that
It goes a little bit two ways. Sometimes I do say, hey, well, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? And sometimes I know, and sometimes sometimes I'll catch on and say, okay, she's just going through it, and let her be. Just and listen. Don't put your input into it. But I'm not perfect. I don't get it right all the time.
Well, if I get in my dark hole, I don't talk. I withdraw. I'm not there whining to him. I'm just
retreated?
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, those situations I do.
but he lets me be. He doesn't and he doesn't take it personal that it's something. I think he knows me enough to know the pattern of the dark clouds, and I'm also been working on myself for many years. I feel that when that does happen, it doesn't last as long as it used to. And then I was on medicine. I didn't get so low like that, but I also didn't feel 100% of everything. So right now I haven't been on medicine for a few months now, and I don't know if have you seen a difference? I don't know. I do get overwhelmed, but I'm trying to
manage that and
manage it, and I'm able to recognize it. I'm still human, and I still have I'm overwhelmed, but before it would take over, and I recognize it now, and I work through it now versus it taking over me. Yeah.
Yeah, I do see that when she does get overwhelmed.
Now, do you let her be, or I mean, it kind of goes are you trying to solve
I
it?
let her be when she gets overwhelmed, and I try, just try to to be there to see if there's something I can do. Maybe the kids are screaming, and I'll grab one of the kids and take them, but
Yeah.
overall, just I don't say anything. I let her. I know that she's being overwhelmed, and I know that she'll overcome that.
Mm.
Yeah,
And
it's different, Desiree, with him. Not just romantic relationships, just relationships with people. Being someone that has the depression, or experiences depression from time to time, more often than usual. A lot of people take it personal and think they,
make them happy, or I'm not enough, or
yes,
Uh-huh.
yes. I, I, I'm struggling because I don't want to uh, I'm not calling anyone out, but it's the majority of my relationships. They do that, and Mariano has never done that to me. Never, ever. He's always just here. He's like my rock. He's here. He's not ever taken it personal, or if he hasn't told me about it. Have you?
I found it with her.
Oh no, that is not what we're trying to. No, do not bottle it up.
No, I understand. That's, I always. I don't have to convince myself of anything. It's like I just know, she's going through it, so I have to just
Love
be there. If there's anything that she needs from me, let me help.
I love that. Hey, I just had this great question that left my mind. I hear this. Can you guys hear it? Someone doing yard work over there.
No.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. We'll move on. Any last thoughts about that? Because I think that's profound. And Michelle has been very open, beautifully open about her, journey with depression. And oh, that's what I was gonna say, is that because she's working on herself, because she's been in like weekly therapy for a decade, because she was medicated, like, you trust that you see it in her efforts, that and I know these past few years it's been a spiritual awakening for her, that she's listening to like podcasts to better herself. So you see that. So you trust that, okay, she's handling it. I wonder for the people who aren't working on, who are taking those steps to better themselves, that it might be harder for their partner to trust that their partner knows what they need or knows to give them space because they're not taking those steps. I don't know. That was just a thought.
Yeah, and that's hard for a couple. That if one is going through things like that and they don't really understand why,
Right.
For the other person to say, "Hey, you need some help," it's kind of like that's gonna, yeah, it might cause a fight.
Yeah.
So a lot of couples don't talk. They don't talk about those things. And they end up arguing all the time, and it's hard to talk about it. So I don't know how you would talk to somebody about that without arguing about it.
Right. And maybe someone who does.
I've been very lucky, and I acknowledge that Michelle, did that all on her own to try to get help for herself. Even before she met me, she was trying to get help. When she started, seeing her therapist.
Yeah, I was already in my 10-year commitment in therapy when we started talking romantically. I was already in therapy for a couple years, so he's only known me as someone in therapy.
Seeking better wellness and well-being, and yes. And I think that there's a sense like people might be in denial, like they know that something's off or something's wrong, but because of the stigma of mental health or mental illness, that they don't want to admit, okay, maybe I do have depression or anxiety or OCD or whatever the plethora of options are. And so when a loved one sees that, like they might need help and they mention it to him, they might be in denial. You're right. And get angry. Like, who do you think you are? Or there's nothing wrong with me, because they're in denial about it. So that's the first step, I guess, is admitting, hey, maybe I do need help. Self-awareness. And it's not bad. We all struggle with different things. We're hoping in this podcast, that's one of the things, is breaking the stigma about mental health and talking about these things, because it's prevalent and we're all on this journey together.
Yes. Well, when we first started talking, I didn't tell him I was in therapy. I just kept it to myself. I don't know when something happened, and I don't even know how I ended up confessing that I was in therapy, but this was 10 years ago, and I was embarrassed.
Mhm.
I thought it meant I can't handle myself, or I'm weak, or all the things that people might assume that if you're in therapy, you're weak. I think a lot of people think that, but I honestly think now, me being someone through it, people in therapy are strong because they're actually digging into the hard stuff and trying to improve themselves, and that is strength and not weakness.
Yeah.
And I don't know what your thoughts were about therapy, or when I told him, or I don't, we never talked about that.
Well, my thoughts were I didn't have any type of thought about it. I mean, I didn't know anybody that was in therapy, and so when I started learning about it, then it was just me learning about it. I didn't have an opinion about it. So maybe I'm lucky that I didn't even think about it before.
Yeah.
I could learn, and not have somebody else influence me about it.
Yeah. Wonderful. It's so good to have you on this podcast. Thank you. This is such a beautiful discussion. Because quite honestly, Mariano and I haven't talked about this before. And it's great to hear your perspective on things. And yeah, I know growing up with Michelle as my sister, and we have other mental illness in our family, it's made me a lot more empathetic of, like, I don't understand it, but I don't have to understand it. Like, you still need to love the person, and it gave me more empathy for people who are struggling with different things that I probably wouldn't have had otherwise, that type of empathy. So it's great to talk with you guys about this. Hey, I'm going to go on to my next question. Do you guys have any last thoughts? I don't want to rush this part of the discussion.
No.
Okay. So this is called Sister Confession. Let's segue into a confession about Michelle. What is something that we don't know about Michelle that you can confess?
Well, I was gonna go with
no, don't go with nothing.
I was going to go with she likes she's very into cars, and she knows a lot about cars, and she loves the smell of gasoline.
That's a good one.
I do.
Smell of gasoline. That's good.
If there's a gasoline candle out there, let me know. I will light that bad boy up.
Any candle makers out in there? Michelle needs one.
But I thought, you guys have talked about cars before. Michelle likes, like when she was growing up, like playing with cars. And so I thought of another thing that I like, um, when me and Michelle are going to somewhere far or somewhere. It could be to the next town over. We're driving. Michelle just sits there and enjoys the ride and enjoys the music. She doesn't, chat me up all the time. So we enjoy the ride all the way there.
Uh-huh.
And with music, and it's really nice just holding her hand and driving.
Being together. I love that. And okay, we got two for one on that one. She loves the smell of gasoline. And on trips anywhere, when it's just you two, it's just enjoying the ride, listening to the music. It's not chit chat. Michelle, I do want to talk a little bit about what you felt about this podcast. I kind of want to bring it roundabout because you're not much of a talker. Actually, so funny. When you guys had your firstborn, I came to visit. I am a big talker and I talk a lot and probably loud. And when I got there, I had laryngitis. Do you guys remember? I couldn't really talk.
Yes.
Yeah.
When he was born. And I was like, is it horrible or whatever? Like I couldn't talk. And you're like, it's probably good because we don't talk. Like it's so silent in your home. Like because you're both quiet and don't talk. That was a little side story. But Michelle, with you feeling called for this podcast to get this going and get the message out, you had just said earlier today, actually, like of all things, me who doesn't like to talk, here I am having this, like, so that's when you know that it's like a God calling. Like I need this. It's out of your comfort zone. That's not you. Can talk a little bit more about that because that was beautiful.
Of
Just
the whole thing. Okay.
yeah.
I was telling Mariano because I was appreciating that he's gonna be on this episode with us, and then I was letting him know this is not in vain. This is a calling. This is more than a calling. I've been being nudged, more than nudged. Something in me keeps telling me you need to get these messages out there, and I'm like, what messages? And it's just like all the things that you and your sister talk about. It wasn't your sister, I'm just saying that because of her, but me and Desiree, all the things we've been talking about, these conversations are not being had enough, and it needs to get out there. And for me to be like, let's make a podcast, you're right. My preference is not talking. I would love to. I'm an observer. I like to people watch. I like to just sit, and I don't talk much. It is out of my comfort zone, and as I've been saying multiple episodes, I struggle with words too. I don't think that's why I don't like talking. I'm sure it probably helps, but I don't. I'm a deep thinker, and I feel like everything that's inside me, there are no words for. I've said this several times. So for me to say, hey, Desiree, let's do a podcast, and for me to be the one that's like passionate about it is a true I know that this is all not from the human element. It is something deeper and more spiritual that needs this message out there. Yes.
Yes.
So I'm following it, and we're following it.
Episode 20, here we are. I wanted to bring that up because that was your confession about just she doesn't chit chat, she's not talking, you're just enjoying the music and the drive, and it just made me think about, we've talked about that multiple times, but we were just talking about it before we hit record about like, it's crazy, Michelle, the one who doesn't talk a lot.
Of all people.
And we do talk. I mean, don't think we don't.
Yeah.
You know, there's a time and a place, you know, that we do talk.
Yeah.
You know, we get home from work, we talk about our day,
Yeah.
normal stuff.
But I don't chit chat.
Yeah. We went to a luau a couple days ago for my son's 17th birthday. We took him on a luau, and we had, since it was his birthday, we upgraded to the VIP experience. I didn't really know what that was. I knew that we got first in line in the buffet. I knew that. But when we got there,
I would have paid right there.
right? that was
know.
good, right? When we got there, since we were in the VIP section, we had our own little table. So it was, and then everyone else, there was just rows of table and chairs with lots of people. So we just sat at our little table, our little family. And so there's hundreds of people. I don't know, maybe 150, 200 people at this luau. And me and my family are sitting there, and I'm looking around, and I was like, I want to be sitting with the people. Like, I really want to chit chat. I love to like learn about new people. I want to like, where are you guys from? You know, I just wanted to chit chat. And my daughter, she's like, what, you can't chit chat with your family? And I felt bad. I was like, we've been chit chatting for 8 days on vacation now. I need to chit chat with strangers. I just felt bad that she said that, but I was like, of course I love to chat with you, but I love to chit chat with people. So anyways, I mean, Michelle and I are very opposite in many ways. It made me think of that story of like, I want to chit chat. You love that about Michelle. You guys enjoy your car rides. How about this? What's your favorite memory with Michelle?
All of them.
Right answer. Happily married 5 years.
Really, I was thinking about that, and there's so many. She surprises me with things, and you know, those are very, very nice. Yeah, there's some memories. I cherish all of them.
She's thoughtful. Well, this is a family podcast, so we'll keep it rated appropriately. Any favorite memory come to mind?
He told me what he was gonna say, but I think he's drawing a blank.
Well, it's because there's so many.
They're flooding his mind right now.
We went to a basketball game once. And I had some basketball tickets, and we were gonna go, and I was thinking I was gonna drive. I was like, all right, let's go. And she said, hey, get those drinks in the fridge. Okay. And we walk outside, and I'm like, okay, I thought we were gonna drive there and then, you know, pregame or something like that. And when we walked outside, there was a limousine waiting for us.
Oh,
That was a big surprise.
that's awesome. That's a great memory.
Another one, her 30th birthday was pretty awesome.
Oh,
You
I was
remember
there
that?
for that, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I was there. That was beautiful.
That was the last birthday with our dad. Yeah.
We went to Carol.
Yeah, we went to Farrell's. That was an ice cream parlor for those of you who don't know what that is. We used to go when we were little, every year to this ice cream parlor.
For each of our birthdays. So we have Michelle and our other sister Nikki, their birthday's in October, and then my birthday's in November. So like, well, in the winter in San Diego is not like cold, but we go 3 times in like a month to Farrell's for ice cream for our birthday. It was a precious, precious memory. I love that memory.
Yes. So we went there. I think that was the last time we went too.
Mm,
Yeah.
it was a
Good
great,
memories.
yes, great memories. Do you guys have any last, the last thing I want to ask is, yeah, Mariana, you every week you've been so supportive of the podcast. You take the kids for hours and then we have our watch parties every week. I mean, it's not like, a 1 hour thing for us that we record. It's time and intentionality. You've been wonderful and supportive. What do you think about the podcast? What do you think about this endeavor, this adventure that Michelle's on?
Um, I, I think it's really, really cool. I was starting this up, and it was Michelle always said, I want to start a podcast, so, and I would be like, okay, well, knowing that she doesn't talk so much, I'm like, like, it's like, try it. I was like, try it, and so she started doing it, and I watch the kids every time you guys record, and uh, I I don't want to say try, but I like that I could take the kids out somewhere. So I'll take them to the mall, and I'll have buy them popcorn, and I take them to the playground. Um, but I like taking them places. So it's good for me, and it kind of works out, that I get to take the kids somewhere, and you guys get to do the podcast. So I think you guys are doing great. It's a great podcast. There's a lot to learn from life. So it's like there's somebody that could get it out there. Have have people learn about relationships and life and work and struggles. It's great. I'm all for it.
Thank you for your support. It's been every time we were like, oh, where's Mariano taking the kids this week? Or sometimes if it takes us a while before we start recording, Michelle's like, all right, he's texting me like, when can I come back? It's been 3 hours. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Well, this is wonderful. I think we should do it again. Do you guys have any last thoughts before we wrap up?
No, just just want to let everybody know that Michelle is she's a wonderful person, and it's very nice to be married to her. She's very caring, and I'm very lucky. I maybe from past experiences, I appreciate more things. I appreciate things that you wouldn't appreciate before from somebody. So it's been great. I'm very lucky.
Perfect. What a great wrap up. Michelle, anything else from you?
I wanted to just thank him for all the support he's been, not just for the podcast, but in my life and as a partner. And he's just, I mean, that answer of us asking him what we think of the podcast, and he's like, "Oh, I just love that I get to spend quality time with my kids." Like
Okay,
the
yeah.
person he is, and I'm very lucky. Like I'm the lucky one. So
Oh, I want to give you guys a big hug. I love you both. It was great to talk with you and see you twice in a week, Mariano. This was a treat. And
It's really nice to see you guys last weekend.
we got a Airbnb, and we went to the zoo, and then they came back to the house, and we all got to hang out, and it was a beautiful time. We have to do that more often.
Yeah.
yes, and the Wi-Fi passcode was the same name as our dad's band when we were growing up. Like these little winks he does for us throughout times we get together. Like
Yeah.
we didn't see a ladybug, but we did see the Wi-Fi passcode as the name of the band that he had.
Yeah.
We can't make this stuff up.
I know. That was cool. It was actually the street that the house was on too, the side street.
Cross Street, yes.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It was
Amazing.
cool.
No coincidence.
And let's go a little bit further with that. I know I'm wrapping up, but the house that we rented was just a couple miles from our childhood house. So I got to drive JR and show him the house we grew up in on Madera Street in Lemon Grove and my elementary school. And I haven't been back there in like 20 years. We went and ate Mexican food at Cotijas. It was so delicious. Oh my God. I was giddy. I was like, I want 5-roll tacos with a horchata. Oh my gosh. It was so good.
Michelle took us around after we left.
Yeah, she said the Berry Street Park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had them
cool.
I had the little ones play at the park we played at growing up. We were there for a good hour. Yeah.
That is so awesome. It just turned when JR rented it and he booked it, I didn't even pay attention to where it's at. But when we drove there, I was like, this is like where we grew up. So it was reminiscing for both. Michelle and I didn't get to do it together time-wise and scheduling and everything, but that was beautiful that we both got to share that with our families. So it was cool. We'll have to do that again. And then we can record in person. That would be all right. Well, thank you, Mariano, for coming. It was wonderful to talk with you, and we hope that you'll join us again in a future episode. And we'll wrap up here. Join us next time for our next episode, podcast number 21. All right. Bye, you guys. I love you.
You won.
Bye.
Bye.